Hi, guys. It's Mo in the Deep End, live and on the internet. Lord, pray for us all. Today, I wanted to go ahead and bring you the opening statement of the defense in the Joel Guy Jr. trial. And since doing a little bit of research, that is about 5 minutes, I'm going to start doing some highlights after that of some of day one. So we should be having a good amount of stuff to work with. Today, my co host Cat Hole is Bending Rodriguez, the one of the 5 cats that will probably rotate in the second chair. I had to create an entire cat hole station near my desk because they are in love with the cords, and, of course, you can't have nice things if you're a mom. If it's not the cats, it's the kids, so I've decided to work with it. So let's get in first on the, opening statement for the defense because well, it's a bit laughable, but, what are you gonna do? It's, mom's head in pot is generally about the only thing what can you say? So let's get into this. See if I've got this correct so I can hide law and cuck, which is always important, and banners. And let's go and listen to what the defense has to say. Maybe it'll be stellar.
No doubt. Thank you very much for
All
your
right.
attention.
Thank you, General Narcissus. Mr. Halstead, would you like to make an opening statement, sir?
Yes. I first just wanted to introduce myself. Mr. Stevens
Oh,
did all the
dear
work.
Lord. What is Skeletor doing on the stand? Um, well, he seems a bit reedy, seems a bit my cousin Vinny, public defender, but let's give him a chance. Maybe he has some bombshell evidence that'll make Joel, completely innocent.
In the jury selection. I am John Holstead. This is Mark Stevens, and we are representing today Mr. Gons. I want to start out by saying thank you for being here. Our criminal justice system is one of the probably the best one in the world. And what makes it so great is that we have citizens who are willing to come to court, especially during a pandemic, during a time like this, willing to come to court, spend.
We are not talking about the unknown, illness of unspecified origins, YouTube, so I'm not even monetized yet, but I would like to say I didn't bring it up, YouTube. You can't get mad at me.
The week listening to the proof and making a decision. And another strong part of our constitutional criminal process is that that decision has to be made beyond a reasonable doubt. And that reasonable doubt can come from witnesses, it can come from physical evidence.
I know this is ADHD and everything, but I am upset by the lack of duct tape. I feel like it's not a true court now, having gone through several trials that were filmed on a potato and a talk boy. I I don't like this sort of orderly, neat court. It confuses and scares me.
It can come from cross examination. And we just ask you and know that you will listen to everything very closely, listening for the reasonable doubt and making your decision at the end of the case. Again, I want to thank you for being here. This is a difficult time to try a case, difficult time to do anything. And we really need you, and you've come forward, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, okay. So, again, not being a lawyer, but having, somewhat stalked LawTube for almost 2 years now, there is a saying that if you don't have the facts, just go with reasonable doubt in the Constitution, and I guess thanking the jury for even coming out. Yikes. Okay, well, that was a definite eye opener, and let's see, our cat hole host is, dead asleep because this is a bit of story time. But, rural Indiana, with the house kind of in a forest, apparently spring is, mice season, and my children have no qualms about leaving all of the crumbs out. So despite having 5 cats, we still have mice that are just brave enough to come in for the, regular buffet of dropped food floor nuggets. And, last night, I'm a bit tired because last night was Silence of the Mice. Um, my cats are sociopaths, as all cats are. I fully know this, our relationship with my furry overlords. Um, but they caught 3 mice and, why not make the deaths easy and quick? No, I have to listen to the shrieking of the mice, and now I get to look at Joel, who looks like Hannibal Lecter from the books. It's poignantly, within the same genre, and let me see if I can show you my shirt that I picked out just for today. Let me seduce you with my knowledge of serial killers. I should really not have an encyclopedic knowledge of it, but I do. I it's someone has to be in charge of.
Objects to their future plans to move and to relocate and that sort of thing.
All right. So Law and Cuck, I don't know if they just like edited this with, the haphazard joy of me trying to edit, but they're the way that they took like trial clips makes only a modicum of sense. So we are coming in sort of right in either right before or after the start of this particular witness. And I do believe that this is one of Joel Guy Sr.'s daughters from his previous marriage. And this is what is going on here. But I'm not quite sure because Law and Cook has done such a terrible job um, getting this together. So of course we are relying on the graces of Law and Cook, and whew, that's a pause screen for oh, nightmare fuel. I think I need to bleach my brain. So let's get him going so I never have to see this again, except in my deepest, darkest nightmares.
So, and for the record, we introduced a printout of the PowerPoint just for identification only.
All right, call your first witness on that matter.
Okay, well, Law and Crime, we definitely needed this footage. It's been riveting. I love to see
With the court's permission, Mr. Harville.
a weirdo in a cone of shame just staring off into space and picking his nose. Come on, Law and Crime, be not terrible, if possible. All right, let's see if we can get this. All right. Oh, good. Okay.
Have a seat. Once you're seated, you may remove your mask.
All right. So this is the first state witness.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Okay. Little personal commentary and no shade, but we have a lot of this particular haircut right yeah, at my local Walmart. And ladies, I totally get it. I feel like I am most comfortable in my high school style, which was, tons of black eyeliner and the sort of, 2 little strands right here, and then everything slicked back like tight into a bun. So I get it. We pick our spot on the fashion train and then we just stay there. We get off on that exit and we are done. That's enough of this though.
Robin White.
Are you related to Joel Guy Sr.?
Yes, he's my brother.
And is the defendant your nephew?
Yes.
Well, now that's like, yeah. But to be honest, I wouldn't claim Joel Guy Jr. either. So this is the sister, and I believe she might be the sister that kind of was going to share in the property that Joel Guy Sr. and Lisa were planning to move on. So let me see if well, you know what? I'm gonna not fiddle with a lot of the banners and just let her speak.
Did you know Lisa Guy also?
Yes, she was like my sister.
All right. I want to direct your attention to the time period around Thanksgiving, just before Thanksgiving of 2016, and ask you if either if your brother made any statements to you about his future plans regarding the support of his son, Joel Michael.
Yes. My brother had stated to me that he was retiring and moving up, and he had cut his son off from any money, anything. He was tired of keeping him up.
No crap. Again, Joel Guy Jr. had never had what we like to fondly call according to South Park, a gerb, if you will. He went to an expensive private school for gifted students in Baton Rouge and then went to college in Baton Rouge. And he was, I believe, an 8-year senior. We all know the type. Uh, Vaguely planning to go into cosmetic surgery. And let me just say that if Joel Guy Jr. tried to approach me and wanted me to go under general anesthesia, that would be a no. That would be a hard no. I would profile my cosmetic surgeon doctors, and that is this Joel is not a man I wanna have anywhere near me when I'm unconscious or conscious, to be really honest.
And Lisa was fixing, they was fixing to move in the family home, and Lisa was fixing to cut him off. And when come Christmas, when he was supposed to come in, but he came in for Thanksgiving instead.
Okay. Um, thank you. Pass the witness.
So this seems to just be a witness establishing that there was a general sort of family knowledge that the guys were going to cut off their son from any sort of financial help. And Joel Guy Jr. was going to have to, get his little application, his CV ready, and go work at Walmart.
Uh, just very briefly, so I understand your testimony is as to your brother. He stated that he had already cut off his son. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And as to your sister-in-law, she told you she was planning to cut him off at Christmas. Is that right?
yes.
And the conversations that you had, let me ask this: the conversation you had with your brother, was your nephew part of that conversation?
No, he was not there.
Okay. The conversation you had with your sister-in-law, was your nephew a party to that conversation?
Yes, it was all about cutting him off. Yes.
Okay. That was a bad question. Let me ask again. When you talked to
Oh dear Lord, they got the intern. Look, I'm gonna again go off on a tangent, but if you want me to buy into the fact that your client wasn't, insane and melting his parents after, decapitating them, have a haircut I can believe in. This guy is the grown-up friend from, oh gosh, Wonder Years. I forget his name. I know it's not Kevin. It's the other nerdy kid. This gentleman right yeah, where I'm moving my uh, is the nerdy friend all grown up, and he inspires 0 confidence just on a Mo Optics, meter. This guy looks like he could do my calculus homework, but do I trust him to defend me? No.
your sister-in-law about your nephew, um, did your nephew hear that conversation while it was going on?
No, he wasn't there.
Okay, that's all I was asking. Thank you. One second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify, as to Ms. Guy, your sister-in-law, did you have a conversation with her yourself, or did
Okay, sorry. I would just like to point out the fabulous beard, directly behind. Uh, I'm gonna call him Neville Longbottom. But this beard right here and the face diapers, dear Lord. What a tragic time,
Your brother tell you about
hiding that beard.
your sister-in-law's plan to
No, I
cut?
talked to her about it too.
Okay. And a conversation with her is when she said she was planning to cut him off at Thanksgiving?
Yes,
I mean, at Christmas?
at Christmas, yes.
Thank you.
Angela Crane?
Well, that was sweet and short, but it definitely does,
Bruce,
lay the foundation that the family knew that Joel was going to be cut off at Christmas, it looks like. And uh, I guess they were all really surprised when he showed up on Thanksgiving because of this knowledge. I believe that this was not a happy conversation when the parents had to sit down and tell Joel he would have to get a gerb, if you will.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I'm about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. May I have a seat? Once you're seated, you may remain
State your name for the record, please.
Angela Crane.
You're going to have to speak up into the microphone.
Sorry, Angela Crane.
Okay, can you pull the microphone close to your? And are you Joel Geis Sr.'s daughter?
Yes,
And you're the defendant's half sister?
yes.
And did you have any conversations in shortly before Thanksgiving holiday, shortly before their deaths, about your father's intention to stop providing support for your brother?
Yes.
And what did he say?
I mean, he said that Joe Michael was going to be cut off and going to have to stand on his own 2 feet.
Okay. Did you have any conversations with Lisa Guy about this?
Yes.
And what were those? What did she say to you?
She agreed. It was all in the same conversation with Dad and Lisa.
And this happened close in time to their deaths. Is that correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Very briefly, Ms. Crane, do you recall when this conversation happened?
Oh, those are
Probably
some Manson
October.
labs.
Around the middle, one of my trips back home to Tennessee.
Okay. And I understood you to say this was a single conversation with the two of them.
It's been an ongoing family conversation and knowledge. I know Dad had cut Joe Michael off probably years before, and the only reason why Lisa ever had a job, because she didn't need to work, was to solely take her check and provide it to Joe Michael. So he,
What an absolute douche canoe this kid is. Or manlet. I mean, his mom didn't even have to work. His mom could have been at home, watching LawTube in her jammies. And because most moms are awesome moms, she, went out and got a job to support her son in his endeavors. And he is such a spoiled little cat hole that he, you know, spazzed out when they told him he was going to have to get a regular job like the rest of humanity. This, sentenced to actually watching the 10 Sharknado movies while listening to Nickelback. That's the cruelest thing I can figure out other than having to be on hold on a call center.
didn't need to work.
Okay. The conversation that you had, you said you thought was in October,
Yes.
and in which you repeated statements from both Joe Geis.
Damn it, Doogie. I can't with this guy. I feel like um, he is one of those cashiers where you think he's old enough to check out your booze, but then he turns out to be 18 and he's got to call another member over, and you are like, damn it, I profiled wrong.
Senior and Lisa Guy. Just trying to understand, is that a time when there was the three of you talking about it together, or did you talk about it with one and then with the other?
3 of us together.
Okay. And did they indicate in those conversations or in that conversation the time when Joel Guy Jr. would be cut off?
After they retired and moved back to Sigornsville, moved home.
Okay. And obvious question, but at the time you had the conversation in October with Mr. Guy Sr. and Ms. Guy, Joe Guy Jr. was not present for that conversation.
Correct.
That's all, Your Honor.
Anything else? This was.
No.
Thank you, Ma'am. You may sit down.
I do believe this is, if you watched the earlier video, um, Joel Guy Sr. was I believe, plumbing engineer or some kind of engineer, and I believe this is the daughter that so looked up to her father, doing that job that she became one as well. This is just a tragedy. I mean, they these 2 parents managed to raise 3 really awesome girls and then a lump, unfortunately.
Renee Charles?
Cone of shame. I love it. You love to see him having to be in a cone of shame, and I believe, because this man was rocking an awesome, what I would call a skullet, where he's, sort of balding on the top, but we've grown every other hair really long, to look like we have longer hair. I believe that got shaved off, and I am hoping it was because they did it in humiliation.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Did you say yes? I'm sorry. All right, please have a seat and you can remove your mask. Get close to the microphone, please.
State your name for the record.
Renee Charles.
Are you Joel Guy Sr.'s sister?
Yes, ma'am.
And shortly before his death, did he make any statements to you about his intention to stop, for him and his wife to stop supporting your nephew, the defendant?
Yes, the week before.
Okay. And can you tell the judge what he said?
He said that Joel Michael was coming in Christmas because they wasn't going to do anything for Thanksgiving. He wasn't coming in for Thanksgiving. And they were going to talk to him then about him having to get a job and pay the bills and stuff down there because they were retiring and moving to Scornsville. They wasn't going to have any income.
Was Lisa there when that happened?
Yes.
Okay. Did she make any statements to you about it?
She said she was behind Mike.
Okay.
They were going to tell him.
Thank you. Ask the witness.
Briefly, Ms. Charles, just, and you may have said this, when did this conversation happen?
The week before.
Okay, the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they came up to Sigornsville to bring some stuff.
Okay, and when they were in Seguinsville,
Quick pause, but I love this accent. I love her cadence. I could sit here and listen to her tell me about how the, Dairy Queen moved out and, we have a new yogurt place. Listen, if you're from a rural area, I love you learn to love the kind of slower cadence and the family stories and how everyone's intertwined, all of that kind of stuff. So I just love it.
in that conversation, it was the three of you having the conversation?
Yes.
And you said that Mr. Guy Sr. Said that they were going to cut him off
Yes.
at Christmas. Is that right?
They were going to talk to him at Christmas because he wasn't coming in for Thanksgiving.
Okay. So Mr. Guy did not actually say at what point the cutting off would happen, just when the conversation would happen.
Right.
And Ms. Guy was there during the
Yes.
conversation also.
Yes.
And what is it what did she say specifically about
She
her?
said she was behind it, that she was going to talk to him. They were both going to talk to him.
That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Michelle Dennison.
Well, we are just running through these witnesses. I might be able to get 2 days. I'll probably start another video for day 2 because I'm pretty sure that's when we start bringing in the forensic evidence.
Please raise your right hand.
Dear Law and
Do solemnly
Crime,
swear or affirm the testimony about to give
please
is the case
don't
is not
stop
one
us
copy of
on
the truth, the
Joel.
whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Love you, God. Have a seat, please, and you may remove your mic.
State your name for the record, please.
Michelle Tyler.
And I'm sorry I've been calling you Dennison, but that's, are you Joel Sr.'s daughter
Yes, ma'am.
and the defendant's half-sister?
Yes, ma'am.
In the time shortly before their deaths in October, November of 2016, did your father make any statements to you about his intention for him and Lisa to stop providing financial support for the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Lisa make statements like this?
On October the 28th, my youngest birthday, Lisa and Dad did. On Thanksgiving,
She does this thing too. Uh, I don't know if it's a woman thing or I just don't want to point at people, but this is my general hand motion. So we're already now best friends. She and I just,
Dad did.
Okay, and let's talk about the October statement first. Tell us what Lisa said.
They had both said, but Lisa said that Joel Michael was going to have to find a job because they only had a certain amount of money. The retirement they had taken out his pension, and I'm not sure if that's the name of it, but they only had a certain amount to live on, and they would not be able to afford Joel Michael or paying for his apartment.
Okay.
again, dear Lord, these parents have been so supportive of this absolute douche canoe. And when they finally tell him, "Hey, sir, you're part of the human race that has to get up and do some stuff for yourself," he went put more planning into, finding meat grinders and dad melting chemicals than finding a daggone job that he might could have been good at.
Things like that.
And on Thanksgiving, what did your dad say to you?
You could, there was a little bit of tension. And so when everyone was inside and it was just,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
it was just me and dad and myself. That was bad grammar. It was just me and dad. We were out on the porch and he said that Lisa hadn't told Joel Michael and that you could feel like that was what was causing the little bit of tension inside the house. That you could feel the tension. It was a
Did
little
he,
bit.
did he say anything specifically about them withdrawing financial support from your brother?
That's what he said. He had told Joel Michael about the that they had told Joel Michael about him having to get a job or being cut off, but he didn't. I can't remember his correct verbiage, but it wasn't cut off. It's that they couldn't afford to
Support him.
support him any longer.
Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Tyler, just a few questions to make sure I understand.
Damn it, Doogie. We get it. It was supposed to be Christmas that he was cut off, but look at these lovely daughters that these two, in conjunction with Joel Senior's ex-wife, really raised. And look how kind and sweet, and they use good grammar. I mean, uh, Joel murdered an entire family, basically, and he is such a lump of human excrement.
As to the conversation at Thanksgiving time, you said you and your father were on the porch. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you said your father told you that Ms. Guy had talked to Joel Guy Jr. About stopping funding. Is that right?
That they had talked to Joel Guy Jr.
Okay. So that both Joel Guy Sr. said that he and Ms. Guy had talked to Joel Guy Jr.
That they had made on October the 28th, they had already told him he needed to be looking for a job. And then on Thanksgiving, they had, I guess, confirmed it or solidified it.
Okay.
This is all about a word.
Um, so there's, uh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to ask the same thing again. There's you and your father on the porch. He's telling you about another conversation between him and Ms. Guy and Joel Guy Jr. Is that right?
Yes, between him, all three of them.
Okay. That conversation between the three of them, you were not present for that conversation.
No, sir.
Okay. And the conversation between you.
I need to ask my lawyer friends, but isn't this hearsay? She's talking about a conversation that she wasn't party to and getting facts from that, uh, and bringing that in when she wasn't privy to that, personally. Again, I don't have a degree. I'm still waiting for my Letitia Stauch doctorate in the School of Fakery. So once I get that, I'll be able to tell you guys all of the things. But until then, you're stuck with a mo.
You and your father, it was just the two of you on the porch. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's all, Your Honor.
No.
Thank you, ma'am. You missed that now.
Jennifer Whited. I have to bring her from outside the judge.
He's one of those that I sincerely hope they have shock shackles on. Again, in the Darrell Brooks case, we were robbed of the experience I believe we all deserved of seeing that man lit up with a couple joules of energy, if you will. And if I had my way and I was empress of the pettyverse, we would get to see that for science, um, because science and learning is fundamental. Finally, a suit that sort of fits. Oh my goodness, it's a miracle.
Just gonna go with the stand. You please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony I'm about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, please have a seat. Once you're seated, you can take your mask off and please speak in the microphone.
State your name for the record.
Jennifer Whited
Where are you employed?
at Jacobs.
What was your relationship with Lisa Guy?
I was Lisa's supervisor.
When did she tell you she was, when did she turn in her notice or let you know she was going to stop working?
She gave me a written notice on November 21st, 2016,
Okay. When was her last day of work?
December 2nd.
This poor woman, I mean, Lisa Guy was getting ready to, after all these years of, working to support Joel Jr., she was going to get to spend time with her husband. They were going to move out into the country, into this family house, and really enjoy grandkids and, boating and all the things that you really can enjoy as an adult when all those things are happening. And because they decided that, they were going to put themselves first for just once in their life, uh, Joel turned into a giant man baby toddler, and his tantrum left a wake of destruction everywhere.
Did she make any statements to you? Did you all talk about personal matters to some degree?
We did.
Okay. Did she make any statements to you regarding her intention, her future intention to stop supporting her son?
She did make mention of that. She talked about her and her husband both retiring and moving to the family home and not being able to continue to support.
And do you know when that conversation took place?
Probably October and November. I mean, we talked just about every day. I made a point to go around and talk to all of my employees, and so we talked.
Side note, but she seems like a really chill boss. I mean, this is on, national television, and maybe she knows, but she kinda just seems like a really chill boss.
Correct.
So you were aware she was going to retire before she turned in her written notice?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. White, as I understand your testimony, you had conversations with Ms. Lisa Guy. She was going to retire and would not be able to continue to support her son. Is that right?
Yes, we did, and have conversations about her intentions of no longer supporting.
Okay. In those conversations, did she indicate to you at what point that support, at what point it was her intention for that support to stop?
She did not say a specific date, but she did say, with them retiring, that she could no longer support him.
Okay. An obvious question, but in the conversation or conversations that you had with Ms. Guy, Joel Guy Jr. Was not present during those conversations.
No, he was not.
And so, thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else with this one, Mr. Chairman? Thank you, ma'am. You may sit down.
Now,
Any
side
other-
note, I do believe that this is the woman who called in the wellness visit. And then when the first round of cops kind of went and did a looky-loo, but didn't really dig into it too deeply, she again called and said, "Look, hey guys, I still don't have a very bad feeling." So kudos to this woman for sticking to her guns, listening to her gut intuition, and really just advocating for herself and these victims. I know it's a side note, but I always tell my girls to listen and not discount those gut feelings, because there's many times that my gut feeling has been right and I just haven't trusted it, and it's gotten me into all sorts of shenanigans. So I'm hoping that my girls will listen, and my boys will listen to that and make better choices.
Other witnesses on this issue? No, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Harwell, do you have objections to what we have heard?
Yes, Your Honor, and I think there's two actually very distinct legal issues. I'll try to address both of them. The first relates to the testimony that
Dear Darth Vader, oh, and if you're going to wear whatever this particular mask is, if you don't have it completely covering your nose, this is why we can't have nice things. No one wanted to wear the face diaper, and then we did it half-assed. But you know what? I love old Star Wars, so you go with your Vader self.
Lisa Guy or Joel Guy Sr. Had told family members that it was their intention to cut off Joel Guy Jr. Christmas or sometime in the future. The basis of our argument on those is there may be, those may arguably fall under 8033, a hearsay exception for state of mind covering intention.
Holy shit, I don't even need to wait for the Letitia Stauch, degree of fakery. I called it hearsay. Suck it, law school. I'm learning it from the internet.
The problem on those where it falls short is relevance. I'm surprised sometimes how often issues recur. But as I was thinking about this is the exact same legal situation that Your Honor and I confronted in Brandon Donaldson. The issue is if that is their intention and that is what they're telling other people, that's still not relevant absent any indication that Mr. Guy Jr. overheard that conversation, was aware that that conversation happened. Whether or not Lisa Guy had an intention in her head to cut her son off at Christmas doesn't make anything more likely in the case unless Mr. Guy, the defendant, knew that that was her intention. So yes, maybe that is 8033 material, but absent evidence that the defendant knew of it, it hasn't been linked up. So that's the argument as to those set of statements. The other statement that I think is a different legal issue is what Ms. Tyler testified to, which is that when at the time they were on the porch, that her father told her that a conversation had already happened, that Ms. Guy had talked to the defendant and told him that
Cone of shame. Cone of shame now.
he had been or was about to be cut off. And that one, I think that clearly is a hearsay problem because now we're not talking about statement of state of mind and of intention. This is Joel Guy Sr. Making a statement to his daughter out of court that the state would be offering for its truth. The state would be offering that to prove that, in fact, Lisa Guy talked to Joel Guy Jr. And told him that he was being cut off. So that seems to me that is just straightforward hearsay, not within an exception, and should be precluded for that reason.
General, before I let you argue, I want to address the first objection as to relevance. Assuming these are proper under 8033, I do think that they would be relevant toward a.
Okay, we got spoiled with a Judge Barry White voice. This guy's voice is not as soothing.
Possible motive on the defendant's part to be the person who committed these crimes. The notebook that the state intends to introduce indicated some money component, somebody who's an adult being supported by the parents and being cut off from that support could be a potential motive. So I do think that there is relevance if the state can, in fact, establish that. Even I don't think we have to know that the defendant actually heard those conversations, that there was an intent that they were going to pretty soon move out of that home and live off their retirement in Sir Goinsville. I think it's all close enough in time to make that relevant. We did hear the testimony from Miss Tyler, and I think Miss White that had already happened. And so even though I don't think that's going to be admissible, I do think that plays into motive. Now to the second part, hearsay. I think most of what I heard was proper 803 declaring the declarant's future intention to cut him off. But there were a couple that I noted I don't think would fall. In general, I will hear your argument on this if you disagree with me. But Ms. White said that Mr. Guy said he was retiring and had already cut his son off. I will concede that she should not say that. Yeah. Is she still in here, Ms. Robin White? Ms. White, okay, so this is a very sort of tricky legal issue. Now, what somebody said.
So this is really new. I've never seen this in a case where typically, or at least from what I've learned, victims that are directly affected by the crime are kind of excused from the rule that if you're a witness, you cannot be in the court or listen to the case. So if you're directly affected, you are allowed to be in the room. But I've never seen a judge kind of ask a witness, and this might be due to COVID, I'm not sure, or this is just how Tennessee rolls. Again, law degree in the mail.
Says, and Ms. Tyler, I want you to listen to this too. What somebody says outside of the courtroom is what we call hearsay. And normally that is not allowed to be presented to the jury, but there's some exceptions to that. And one of those exceptions is when somebody declares their intent to do something. Like if I said to Mr. Sanchez, I'm going to go to the mall and watch a movie tonight, then he could come to court and say, Judge Sword told me that day he was going to a movie tonight, because that is an exception to hearsay. You're talking about somebody's future intention. But if I said, hey, Mr. Sanchez, I went to the movies last night, he couldn't say that, because that is a statement of something that had happened in the past, and there's a question on the reliability of that. So, Ms. White, when you say Mr. Guy told you that he had already cut the defendant off, you can't say that in court. That's inadmissible because it's something that's already happened in the past. But then when you say that Lisa Guy said that they were fixing to move into the family home and she was fixing to cut him off too, that's okay, because that's.
I love I love, our kind of lexicon of fixin' to. Just it tickles me pink and it makes it feel a bit homey. But, can we discuss this mask, I don't know, conglomeration of weird when he still doesn't have it over his nose? I cannot with this time period.
Her statement of something that's going to happen, what she's going to do in the future, her intent, her plan of what she's going to do. That stuff's okay. And Miss Tyler, the same thing with you. You had said that at Thanksgiving when you were out there with your dad, he said that they had already had the conversation with him. That's a past event, so you cannot talk about that. But when you talked about the October 28th conversation with your mom, that he's going to have to find another place, and because they're going to stop supporting him. That's okay as well too. So, General, I take it you concede on that as well. Okay, so that's going to be the court's ruling. I think it was just those two that I heard that were past events. Everything else, I think, was a future plan of the declarant. And so that'll be my ruling. I'm going to overrule the first objection on relevance, and I'm going to overrule it except for those two exceptions as noted. All right. General, who's your first witness? Okay. You think we can do that before lunch? We got 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, so these are not, witnesses. Alright, I guess, my law degree has failed me, my internet, abilities. I guess these are what is called a proffer of witness or something to that effect, where basically things that weren't quite, admissible, I believe were talked about. I don't know. Like I said, I am not a lawyer. Go to other legally people to figure this stuff out. I just play one on the internet.
You okay? Okay. All right. We've already got the witness stand clean. You ready for the jury, General? You ready, Mr. Halsted?
Okay, so the jury's not even in here. I guess they were just going over things that the witnesses can and can't say. So that's pretty interesting. I'm actually learning is fundamental. I think what I'm going to do though is I am going to stop this video here and then start a new one or possibly yeah, start a new one because this is about almost 50 minutes long and I am supposed to in theory be doing laundry and other chore like things at the moment, and let me get him off the screen because that is some nightmare fuel we don't need. My co-host is currently, again, still napping because he was involved in Silence of the Mice. So, what I will do is I will get this processing ready to go, and hopefully it will be out, and then I will start fresh on the actual witnesses, with the jury in and try to upload that video fairly soon as well. So, I'll be working on that right after this, and we will slowly get to understand what's going on. But thank you guys so much, and, see you later from me and Bender.